I am doing my Eurovision readathon TBR, and I'm actually going to let my game Roll of Reads decide what I will be reading for that readathon. So the readathon is a Eurovision themed readathon that is hosted by Helen from Helen's Bookhaven. I will link her channel and her announcement video in the description below and in the eye, so you should go and check that out. She is an absolutely lovely person and a fantastic booktuber, so you should definitely go and check her out. She actually started this last year in 2020 when we were unable to actually have a Eurovision Song Competition because of obviously COVID-19. She loves that Eurovision Song Contest, and because it didn't happen, she thought, why not have a readathon to celebrate that instead? It was really fun. I went in it last year. So the aim of the game is to read as many books as you can from as many different countries that participate in the Eurovision Song Contest. So I will put the little scoreboard thing that Helen has on her Twitter, which I will also link below so you can follow all the stuff to do with the Eurovisionathon, and that says all of the countries that participate in the readathon. So last year we had a little bit of an advantage because we knew who the finalists were. This year we don't know who the finalists were, so there are 40 odd countries that are participants in the song contest, but then only 26, I think, end up going through to the finals. So it's actually the countries that go through to the finals that count for our scores for the Eurovisionathon readathon. So that kind of means that you end up taking a chance, taking a gamble on what countries you choose. So I have decided, like I said, to let my TBR game Roll of Reads decide, and we'll just see what happens. Full disclosure, I have already done the rolls. I did those yesterday because I needed to plan a little bit more than I usually do because of the fact that I needed to have different books from different countries. Anyway, so for more information about Roll of Reads, how it works, what the rules are and everything, I will link my playlist with all of those TBR games that I've played so far. I've been playing it for a few months now, so you can go ahead and check those out so you can get some more information. But very quickly, I have my TBR board and I have some cards which I have left in the other room. I will go and get them, which are these ones here. So I have 20 spaces on the board and about 60 cards. I roll a 12-sided dice to decide how many rolls I do for the books for the month, and then I roll my 20-sided dice to get those prompts for the books. So, for punishments this month, I don't have any because of all the buddy reads that I had to read in March. I only did a very small roll. I did 3 rolls and I ended up having to read 3 books for my official TBR. And I did read those books. So I read A Charla Wolf written by an Australian Aboriginal author. I read Way of Kings Part 2 I actually don't recall what this was for, but anyway, it was one of the rolls, so I read it. And I read Frost Heart Part 2, Escape from Aurora by Jamie Littler. Again, I don't remember what this was for, but anyway, I read it. So that means I have no punishments for this round. Now, the punishments work out that if I don't at least start a book, then I have to do another roll for each of the books that I don't at least start in that month that come up on the TBR. Also, if I roll a 1, then I have to roll again throughout the game. Now, I've been watching other people's TBR games, and other people have things like rolling a double, if they land on the same colour 3 times, etc. I have been thinking that perhaps I should do an extra punishment for myself, so something like if I roll the same number 3 times in that one game, then I have to roll another roll. Or I was also thinking that if the same card came up, say 3 months in a row, or 2 months in a row or something like that, then I would have to roll an extra one for when it came up. So if it came up on its 3rd time in that TBR game, then I would have to roll again. But I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with, so if you could comment below and let me know what you think would be a good punishment. I'm also wondering about whether or not maybe to give myself an extra reward, so possibly I would have, if I roll the same number 2 or 3 times in one TBR game, then I have to roll again, but then if I come up with the same card 3 months in a row, 2 months in a row, whatever, then maybe that's where a reward comes in. Anyway, let me know in the description below what you think. So let's go ahead and go over to me setting up the board and finding out how many rolls I have to do. Okay, let's shuffle up these cards. Okay, and we'll place the cards. Okay, so first off we roll the 12-sided dice to see how many rolls I will have to do. That wasn't even in shot. See if I can get it in shot. Oh well, I guess not. It was a 12. It was the highest we could get. Okay, so as you just saw, we came up with 12 rolls. That is the most I can get off a 12-sided dice, obviously, and that's quite a bit more than I usually read. I usually read around 7, 8, maybe 9 at the outside in a month, so I don't know if I'll get to 12 in the month, but it does give me quite a few to work with insofar as countries and whatnot. So let's go ahead and do our first roll of my rolls. 15. Published the year you were born. Before I talk about what I got for my first roll, I just wanted to apologise first of all for the lawnmower that you can hear, but also for the lighting situation that we have in this video. As usual, I'm relying on daylight for my lighting, and it is one of those days where it's overcast and then sunny and then overcast, etc. So unfortunately the lighting, as you've probably noticed, is coming in and out. Anyway, as you guys saw, for the first roll, I got published the year you were born, which is 1980, so I had to go back a ways. I had to rely on the library for this one because I didn't actually own, well, that's not true. I own a book that was published the year I was born, but it didn't quite fit in with what I was trying to do. So we've gone to the library, and the book that I have decided to read for this one is The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco. I don't know a huge amount about this one. It is similar, I believe, to The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown, although I have heard that it's quite a bit better than that one. So it is one of those books where there is a mystery that spans a long period of time, and it's to do with the Catholic Church and to do with artifacts and that sort of thing. That's about as much as I know about this one. I'm very excited to read it. I've heard really great things about it, and this one is set in Italy, or predominantly set in Italy, so that means that I am starting out in Italy for Eurovisionathon. Let's see where the rolls will take us next. Next roll. 19. One word title. And for roll number 2, we got one word title. So for this one, I again am relying on the library. I'm being a little bit naughty with this one because although I do have a couple of books that literally have one word titles, they didn't fit in again with the Eurovisionathon aspect. So I've decided to go with a book that doesn't technically have one word title, but the other word is the. So hopefully that counts. It's my game, so I'm going to make it count. But anyway, that book is The Unseen by Roy Jacobson. This one is set in Norway. It sounds like it is a kind of literary fiction, domestic mystery type of one. I'm just going to read one little tiny bit of the blurb because it I don't want to know much more about it. Nobody can leave an island. An island is a cosmos in a nutshell, where the stars slumber in the grass beneath the snow, but occasionally someone tries. So that sounds really interesting to me. Yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. I have never heard of Roy Jacobson before, so let's see what he's got to offer. It's an 18. Non-fiction. Okay, and roll number 3 got us non-fiction. For this one, I've decided to go with one of my books, which is on my I must read this in 12 months or it will self-destruct, and that is Days in the Caucasus by Benin. It just says Benin. I don't know anything more about it. So this is a memoir from Benin, and it is about their childhood growing up in Azerbaijan. It sounds very interesting, and yeah, I'm excited to read it. I really don't know very much about Azerbaijan. I've not read any fiction from Azerbaijan, so I'm keen to read this one, although as far as I know, it's not own voices, so it's not about a person who is native to Azerbaijan, but that's okay. It's a place to start. Obviously, this one fits in for Azerbaijan for Eurovisionathon as well. So we have gone from Italy over to Norway and then back down to Azerbaijan. So let's see where roll number 4 is going to take us. 3. A library book. And roll number 4, we got a library book. I've already got a book from the library, but that's okay because I can have more than one book from the library. It can still count towards this one. And we are going to Sweden for this one, so we are going to read The Deal of a Lifetime by Fredrik Backman. Partly I chose this particular Backman because it was one of the only ones that was actually available for borrowing at the library, but also because it's quite a short one, and that's obviously very helpful in a readathon, even though this is a month-long readathon. Still 12 books, so who knows. But yes, so it's a very short, very easy to read, very small font, large font and everything. I really don't know very much about this one. This is my second Backman, and I am expecting that it won't be his best work, but you know, it's still a taste of an author, and I'm excited to read it. So that's for Sweden. Let's see where we will be going next. 2. Oh, I forgot to replace. That's all right. There we go. And number 2, a hyped book. Roll number 5, we got hyped book. So I am actually really excited to get this one because it means that I can read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I have heard so many good things about this one, and I have been super excited to read it. Obviously I haven't got to it yet, but that is fine because it works out perfectly for the Eurovisionathon because it is set predominantly in France. So I feel like I don't need to say a huge amount about this book because most people would have heard of it by now. It's a very hyped book. Came out at the end of last year and has been very well loved so far. But basically, from what I know about the book, it is about a young woman who, I think in like the 14th century or something like that, is engaged to a person that she didn't choose, who she doesn't want to marry. To get out of this marriage, she makes a deal with the devil. And the deal is that she will live forever, but the price she has to pay is that nobody will remember her. So people meet her, they talk to her, and then they go away, and then they forget her completely. And this is how her life goes, and she's obviously invisible for many years, many centuries, and then one day, and I think it goes up to present day, she meets someone who actually remembers her. So like I said, it's incredibly hyped, which is why I chose it. And yeah, it sounds really good. It is a slightly thicker book, but again, it's a month-long readathon, but also I've heard that this is actually really easy to read, so hopefully I'll get through it reasonably quickly. But yeah, I'm super excited about this one. So that is a hyped book. All the way to France for this one. And then where are we going next? 5. Set in Australia. For number 6, we got Set in Australia. And for this one, I've actually decided to go with another non-fiction book, and that is Dark Emu by Bruce Pascoe. I don't know a huge amount about this one either. As far as I'm aware, this is a alternative history. It has won a number of different awards. I've heard that it's fantastic, although quite hard-hitting. It is from an Aboriginal perspective, talking about colonialism, talking about the race relations between white European settlers and Australian Aboriginal, and talking about stolen generation and all of our history from an Aboriginal perspective. So I'm a little bit nervous to read it, but I'm also very excited and interested to read it. I've had it on my phone for quite a while as an audiobook and haven't quite got there yet, so I'm really excited to use this as an opportunity to read it. So that means we're popping all the way over to Australia for another non-fiction. For roll number 7, let's see. 4. Whoops. Move the entire thing. Number 4, middle grade. And for roll number 7, we got a middle grade. So that should be something nice and easy for me to read during the month as well. And for this one, I have decided to go with a library book again. And we are going all the way to Russia, and we are going to be reading The Girl Who Speaks Bear. I've forgotten who this book is by, but the picture of it will be somewhere here, so you will see who that is. I don't really know very much about this book either. I've heard that it's absolutely fantastic. Features some Russian folklore, which is something that, again, I know almost nothing about, so I'm excited to read it. So we are back over to Russia for this one. Let's see where we're going next. 13. Genre pick. Roll number 8, and we got genre pick. So what I'm going to do for this one is I actually have a little spinny wheel with a bunch of different genres that I read relatively frequently, and I'm going to now spin that wheel so that it will pick a genre for me, and then of course I'll go ahead and choose my book for that. So let's do that spin now. Alright, for this one we got literary fiction. So that actually works out really, really well because I have been very keen to read this particular book for a while. I read another book by the author earlier this year and I really enjoyed it. So for this one I will be reading The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton. Again, don't know a huge amount about this one. As far as I know, it is a historical literary fiction and it is about someone who has a dollhouse type of thing that is made to represent their actual house, and then all the dolls that go in the dollhouse represent the actual people that live in the house, and some mysterious things happen. So it sounds really cool, really interesting, very much my kind of book, so I'm very excited to read this one. It takes place in Amsterdam, so we are popping from Russia down to the Netherlands. So we're doing pretty well getting around for our readathon, but yeah, I'm very excited about this one. Let's see where we're going next. Number 6. Start a series. For roll number 9, we got start a series. Now, I have chosen this one on the basis of another role that you will see in a minute, but for start a series, I am going to actually read The Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie. This is the first in her Hercule Poirot books, and this one is set in the UK, but I didn't want to go to the UK for this one, and again, you'll see why in a minute. But Poirot is from Belgium, so I'm being a little bit sneaky with this one and going to say that this is for Belgium. Let's see what is going to happen next. A 2. Set in another world. Okay. And roll number 10, we got set in another world. So I've decided to be a little bit sneaky again for this one, because if I go to set in a fantasy world, then it's not going to fit quite into the Eurovisionathon. So what I've decided to do is go back in time, because I figure that our world and the way that we live now is very, very different from the past. So I'm going to read Daphnis and Chloe by Longus. So this is actually touted as being the first novel. It is a book about Daphnis and Chloe, and it is a Greek pastoral fiction. So yeah, that's pretty much all I know about it. Jean from Jean's Bookish Thoughts really, really likes this one, so I'm super excited to try it. So that means that we are going backwards in time to the previous world of ancient Greece. Does that kind of work? It's my game. I'm making it work. So we're going to Greece for this one. 2 more rolls to go. Hopefully, we haven't got a 1 yet. Let's cross our fingers and hope for the best with roll number 11. 15. A sequel. And for roll number 11, we got a sequel. So you might see where I'm going with this one. Because I did this in advance, the rolls in advance, I was able to make a bit of a plan because it was going to be tricky to read both a series, the beginning of a series, and a sequel in the same series if they were set in the same place. So I decided to go with Agatha Christie because I knew that quite a few of her Hercule Poirot books were set in a bunch of different countries. So for this one, I'm going to read Murder on the Orient Express. And the Orient Express travels through a few different countries, but one of the countries that is actually part of the Eurovisionathon, or the Eurovision Song Contest, that the train does go through is Bulgaria. So I will be reading as a sequel Murder on the Orient Express because the Agatha Christie books, even when they're in series, are closed circle mystery series, so all of the action and everything that takes place in the book is accounted for and explained in the book. So even though it features the same character, and I assume you get characterization of the different characters and particularly Hercule Poirot, it's not important that, sorry, I just bumped the tripod with my foot. It's not important that we have, that I read it in order. So I was able to choose a book that would fit for the Eurovisionathon. So we're going all the way over to Bulgaria to read Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. Fingers crossed, our last roll is coming up right now. 11. Ooh, Twitter pick. And roll number 12 is indeed our last roll. I didn't roll any ones. Thank goodness for that, because I do not think I can get through 12 books in a month. So I'm probably going to have some punishments in my next round, but some of these are quite short. So let's cross our fingers and hope for the best. And for roll number 12, I got Twitter pick. So how this is going to work is I am going to show you 4 books, all of them set in the UK, and I am going to, when this video goes up on my channel and goes live, I'm then also going to put a poll up on Twitter. So if you would like to, please go ahead and go over to Twitter, link is in the description, so that you can vote for which book I will be reading. So those books are Pages and Co., Tilly and the Book Wanderers by Anna James, Moon Over Soho by Ben Aronovich, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, or Am I Normal Yet by Holly Bourne. That poll is over live on Twitter right now, so please go over there and vote for which one you would like me to read for England for the Eurovisionathon. Whichever one is the winner is the book I will read in that month. I'll let you know on Twitter, but also in a vlog at some point as well, so that you know which one won. So, given that I do not have any extra rolls, no punishments or anything like that that I have to do, that's it. Which is good because, like I said, 12 rolls seems like a lot. Let's go through and double check all of the books that we are going to read for all of the countries. So we have 12 countries represented. We have Italy by The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco. We have Norway represented by The Unseen by Roy Jacobson. We have Azerbaijan represented by Days in the Caucasus by Benin. Sweden represented by The Deal of a Lifetime by Frederick Backman. We have France represented by The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. We have Australia represented by Dark Emu by Bruce Pascoe. Russia represented by The Girl Who Spoke Bear. The Netherlands represented by The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton. Belgium represented by The Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie. Greece represented by Daphnis and Chloe by Longus. Bulgaria represented by Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. And we have England represented by one of these 4 books as decided by Twitter. I think that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments below if you are taking part in the Eurovisionathon, what books you'll be reading, how many you're planning on reading. Yeah, just in general, what you are planning to read over this next little bit of time. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.